What if I told you your switches are secretly negotiating behind your back? Meet DTP and VTP, Cisco's powerful but dangerous protocols that can either automate your VLAN management or wipe your entire network configuration. In this video, I'll reveal how to harness their power safely, the shocking default settings you must change, and the one command that could save you from a VLAN disaster. Watch now before your next switch upgrade.
The DTP protocol is a proprietary Cisco protocol. That is, it only works between Cisco switches. The table you see takes up all the possibilities that it is possible to do with the configuration of the DTP between two switches. These states are particularly important to know because according to the switch model, the default state is not the same. Each time a port goes up, DTP adds are sent. If the port is connected to a nearby switch, then they will exchange and respond to DTP adds. On both sides, the trunk will be activated automatically. On the other hand, if the port is connected to a PC, then the latter will not respond to DTP adds, because the PC does not understand the protocol. On the switch side, the trunk will not be activated, and the port will remain in access mode. A switch, therefore, sends DTP queries regularly over the network. To cancel these shipments, the switchport non-negotiate command must be used directly on the interface. An interface can be configured in 4 different ways. The switchport mode access command forces the port into access mode and disables sending DTP queries to the network. The switchport mode trunk command forces the port to be a trunk port and sends DTP queries to the switch opposite. The switchport mode dynamic auto command is a passive mode. That is, it waits patiently for a message from the switch in front to self-configure. If the port opposite is in trunk or desirable mode, then it will go up in trunk. Otherwise, it will remain in access mode. In this mode, your DTP are sent regularly on the network. And the switchport mode dynamic desirable command is an active mode. That is, it sends DTP queries to the opposite switch to make a trunk proposal. To reduce VLAN configuration errors in its network, use the VTP protocol. It is a Layer 2 protocol that makes it easier to manage VLAN across multiple switches in a network. By using it, you do not need to connect to each switch to create and name each VLAN manually. VTP does it automatically. If you only have a few switches, you can manage the VLANs manually. But on large networks, VTP is much more advantageous. A switch can only belong to one VTP domain. The configurations that are brought on equipment that is in VTP server mode will spread to all other equipment that is in customer mode. The VTP messages that the switches exchange are sent every 5 minutes, or every time there is a change on the VLAN. These exchanges are only done in the same VTP domain. There are 3 different VTP versions. Version 1 is the default version. The different versions are not compatible with each other. It is necessary to have the same version in the same VTP domain. There are 3 different VTP modes. Server mode is the default VTP mode. Here, VLANs are propagated on the network of the same VTP domain. When the VLAN configuration is changed on a VTP server, whether it's an addition, a deletion, or a simple change, it's propagated on all switches in the VTP domain. The VTP mode server command allows you to set up the switch in server VTP mode. In the client mode, it is not possible to change the configuration of the VLAN. Sync with other switches that are either in client mode or in server mode. The VTP mode client command allows you to set up the switch in customer VTP mode. And in the transparent mode, when you change the configuration of VLANs, it only affects the local switch, and there is no spread in the VTP domain. VTP messages can flow freely, but no synchronization will be done with another switch. The VTP mode transparent command allows you to set up the switch in transparent mode. We will now move on to its configuration. The VTP command in global configuration mode allows you to configure the mode, either in a client, in a server, or in transparent mode. A VTP domain name can be manually informed or learned automatically. In the example, it is given as a domain name, formip, with the command VTP domain. By default, no domain is set. It is even possible to put a password with the command VTP password. So, you have to be careful with passwords, because if you don't assign the same password for switches in the same domain, then the VTP protocols won't work properly. The VTP pruning command saves bandwidth. For example, if there are several VLANs, and the switch has none of its ports on any of these VLANs, then there is no need for them to receive VTP frames from this VLAN. The VTP pruning function warns the nearby switch not to send traffic to a VLAN that it has no port to assign. The show VTP status command displays the VTP configuration of the switch, and the show VLAN command displays the configuration of the VLAN.